Good morning, welcome to Ag Talking to Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Today's topic is actually going to be grain, corn, soybeans, wheat, different regions of the country that are going through terrible drought, hailstorms, and just adverse weather conditions, and cold and wet to hot and dry to weirdness, just absolute weirdness. So as you know, I just got back about not quite a month ago. I got back from North Carolina from doing a baling contracting job obviously in North Carolina, down around, I won't even mention where. Just someone told me that I shouldn't speak of the area, even though, whatever. To each his own. It's a capitalist country. If you want to come in and spend more money than what this company that I'm dealing with does to bale straw to ship it millions of miles away, then that's your prerogative, and that's okay. So anyway, anyhow, the I'm going to start at the beginning. When I went down to North Carolina, they were in a major drought. It was so dry that the corn was anywhere from 2 feet to 3 feet tall. It was starting to tassel out, and it was in dire straits. They were curled up like pineapples. It looked horrible. Okay, so it looked horrible, and what I expected was we would just hit the field running, like, okay, it's going to be June 1st tomorrow, or today, or whatever it was, and we're just going to hook everything up, and these guys are going to hit the fields, and life will be good. We'll be baling, and we'll get this knocked out really quickly. Well, the fact of the matter was that didn't work out. It started to rain, and it really started to rain. It rained the first full week. We were down there. We worked at what we were doing. We went and got our accounts set up. Everything was going well, and then it rained. And then, of course, my father called me up and said, hey, look, I'm having problems with this sprayer, and you're not really doing anything down there at the moment, so why don't you come up here, spray this corn, because if you don't, it's going to be so full of grass that you're not going to get anything. Well, that was a pretty quick decision. I had been loading loads of straw for the company that I work for, and that I was contracted through. So I was loading loads. I said, well, let me finish loading this load, and I'll get in the car. Me and Teresa will come up. Okay. That's what we did. So I went up, got up there, jumped in the tractor and sprayer, sprayed out the remainder of the load of glyphosate that was in there, and bada bing, bada boom, I was back, went to bed, got up the next morning, reloaded the sprayer, and off I went again. And I finished it up at about, 11 o'clock, after a couple of trips back and forth with the 7410, because that was really all that was there that I could spray with. And, of course, they started baling that afternoon. No big deal. I got back to North Carolina. If you were watching some of the live streams there, you saw that it was they had baled, and I had started stacking, and I worked until about 2 o'clock in the morning. So there you go. With that, the corn took off. It really did down there in North Carolina. So, we worked for a couple of days, then it rained for a few more. We worked for a few days, and it rained some more. And everybody's getting stressed out, and down there, and people are freaking out that they were not going to get their wheat in, or their sweet potatoes, or their corn, or not their corn, their beans, and everything else. But we did get it done. The final count was 15,793 bales that were baled, stacked, and standing when we left, which is fine. I've been informed now that one of the piles has toppled over. I was upset about it because if I'd have knew that I would have went down with the loader and actually restacked it. But they were like, listen, no big deal. It happens. So I was pleased for that. So as you know, I've been going back and forth a few times. Now I've gone down the Eastern Shore, and then I've come up through Virginia, down the Eastern Shore, and then I took the 95 corridor back up. And what I see on the Eastern Shore is good, bad, okay, good, and then indifferent. Like, just nothing great, nothing bad, nothing. Then you get back down to North Carolina, where the early planted beans don't look very good. The tobacco doesn't look very good. I saw several hundred acres of tobacco that were just uh, not even topped. Hundreds and hundreds of acres down on Route 13, headed down towards what the heck's the name of that town? Well, Tarboro, or Oak City, in that area. Hundreds and hundreds of acres of tobacco that wasn't even topped. So what I saw there was kind of like, huh. And then of course I come home and I have this YouTube channel and the other one, and life is good there. But I do watch other farmers and farming channels around the country. One that I really enjoy is the former Jeff Ramon channel. And but it is now One Happy Farmer. One Happy Farmer. I like Jeff. Jeff seems like a really good guy. He seems like a really good guy, and he's a good farmer at that. From what I can see, he does a spectacular job. So when you watch him, he's very to the point, honest, and true, and I like that. So one of his videos he did the other day, he says the corn looks good from the road. He says, but when you get out in it, and he pulled an ear, and I did too. I showed a video of mine as well, I think a day before he did this video, and the ear that I just randomly grabbed, and I did it live, I did it right there on camera. I didn't choose it, I just grabbed one, and it was a 20-row ear with, about 42 kernels long. Had a couple of missed pollination, which is insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It wasn't like there were rows of non-pollinated corn. And I pulled another ear in another field in a bad area where there was a lot of rain. The water runoff ran down the end rows. It was on an end row, which you really don't want to do. You kind of want to get out into the field a little bit. But I did it on an end row, and I still had 40 kernels long with an 18-row ear. So it was good. Well, Jeff, he pulled his, and he counted. It was 16 and 30. I think he said 35. I think he said it was like either 34 or 35 kernels long. So the ear is short, and it's not very girthy. So you look at that. Now, you can drive down the road like the USDA loves to do, is get in their crop tour. And it's basically a bunch of men in suits that drive around the country in a bus through the Midwest, and they look at crops from the road. Yeah. Sometimes they get out and wander out into the field. Sometimes they don't. Don't trust that. Don't trust that at all. Because of what Jeff had done. Jeff went out in there. He says, looks good from the road. Looks a lot better than what it actually is. And he did his yield calculator. And I don't remember what his yield was last year, but it was in the 200s. He's got it pegged at about 185 bushels to the acre, which, respectively, on dryland corn here in New Jersey would be phenomenal. It really would. It would be a very nice average to have. And a very nice average to have. But where he's at, not so much. It's in more fertile ground, better ground than what we have out here. I have to force my ground to produce, which is expensive. It's just expensive. And I actually had a conversation with the up at the fertilizer plant yesterday, where I spent 40% more for fertilizer than I did last year. Crazy numbers just for hay. I'm just trying to fertilize my hay. That's it. That's what I want to do. I want to get a second cutoff. I bought 25 tons of fertilizer. And he was like almost annoyed with me, it seemed, and not annoyed, but he's like, I told him, I said, look, I'm killing 1,000 acres of hay, and I'm going to put 1,000 acres of corn in next year because I'm not gonna cater to these mushroom growers or these composters if they don't treat us like fair. So I'm gonna put this into perspective for you, and it's been out of whack in every other aspect of agriculture ever, except for in the mulch hay business or the mushroom business for many, many years until recently. In 2018, there was a lawsuit against a group of mushroom growers for price fixing, and they were sued and lost somewhere close to $100 million. They lost $100 million. Now, the company that contracts me, we're not involved in that lawsuit, but they are following suit with all the other composters, which they're getting to be less and less of them. They're just getting bigger and bigger and producing more and more material. So what has happened is that they're not moving on the price. My fertilizer, 30 to 40% more for a ton of fertilizer, right? Fuel, 30% more, right? Everybody's paying 30% more for fuel, 30% more for fertilizer. I'm not putting down just nitrogen. I'm putting down a blend. It's basically 2013-13, 28-13-13 with sulfur. It's like 27 point whatever by 12 point whatever by 12 point whatever, and then I'm putting down, I think, 19 or 18 units of sulfur because we're low in sulfur on everything. There's a reason for this. A lot of guys just throw nitrogen on, but I've done long-term hay for many years, and the soil is pretty depleted, and I need to boost the soil in order to get a crop back, so it's costing me. Well, when you put that type of fertilizer on hay, it transfers from the soil, from that nutrient that you put down, to the soil, to the material that you're cutting off of there, and then the people, the end user, like the mushroom barn, they are getting that fertilizer. That's just the way it is. It's just like not feeding your corn won't feed you. Same thing with everything. You have to feed it or it's not going to feed you. So I had a long conversation with the composter that I am hired to do the straw job with about nutrition and how I am not getting paid for my added effort. Tarping, fertilizer, or complete blended fertilizer, not just nitrogen. And, everything that I do to provide a quality product. I'm just not feeling like there's any love there. So here's the deal. Let's use my telephone, okay? I got an Apple telephone. And let's just say that it's a table, just a flat table. And on this table, there's steak, there's chicken, there's pork, there's vegetables, and on the backside, there's dessert. So the guys on the end are me and the end user, the composter. All right, and over here, there's like 4 guys on this side. Now let's just say they're on this side. They're on this side because all these lovely desserts are here. So you got me down here. I'm the lowly guy that's paying whole retail and selling it wholesale to this guy over here. Okay, so I got steak down here, and there's chicken and pork, and these guys are all over here. But the guys in the middle here, these guys that are in the middle, they're all grabbing the chicken, the pork, and the steak before I can get my hands on it, and they're passing it to this guy over here. Okay, so because it goes this way, around the table. And it goes this way, and by the time it gets to me, I get scraps. I get the fattiest piece of steak that I gotta trim all that fat off of to get any meat out of it. And these guys, they're just eating away. They're eating, having a good time, laughing, drinking their beer. And this guy over here, he's the end user. He's like, yeah, thanks for passing that down here. I got the prime rib, and I got the best, thickest pork chop and that breast of meat. I like breast, so there you go. I get that breast of meat was really good. Well, I get the damn wings. And I get the fattiest piece of steak and the thinnest, most burnt pork chop that's there that I can barely eat. So everybody that's sitting at this table should be eating equally. There's enough food for everybody to go around. But the guy on this end, he's getting fatter. He's got the millions of dollars. I've got the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the millions of dollars that they're profiting, I'm profiting only a few $1,000, maybe. Not enough to buy new equipment and have a good time. But these guys are going out and dropping $800, $1 million per loader, buying farms and canning facilities and doing all this lovely stuff, while I'm over here thinking, how the fuck am I going to pay next month's payroll and everything else if these guys keep trimming the fat? And don't forget that fertilizer bill, that 30% more fertilizer bill. Or how about the 6,000 gallons of fuel that I burn every month in the summertime to produce that is now 30% more. So there you go. There it is. if everybody that's sitting at the table is not getting equal shares of, well, I say equal shares, but getting enough food, someone is starving. And unfortunately, it's this guy right here. Hello, hello. So this guy right here is not going to tolerate this guy over here getting fat on high quality material like pork, chicken, steak, the best of the best cuts. And all those lovely desserts in the end, they're all gone because this guy ain't getting no desserts. He's not. He's not happy about it. So growing corn and growing soybeans is a distinct possibility again for me. Not thrilled about soybeans because of deer. My wife claims that if I grow soybeans, she's going to divorce me if I go broke. So much for richer or poorer, right? No, she's just joking. But no, it's just serious. We have deer problems here that will not allow me to grow beans in any capacity where I can't kill them, and I can't kill them. You know, it's just nobody is happy with me when I start slaughtering animals. So I just don't care to grow soybeans. So my thought process is to kill 1,000 acres of hay, you know, put in 1,000 acres of corn, sell the hay that I've got, bring the compost back with my walking floor, fertilize the corn with the compost, and that cuts my input costs on the corn side of it. And again, I can sell the fodder as well for bedding, and there is still a mushroom grower or two that is looking to buy corn fodder. And that reminds me, I got to make a phone call today. So, yeah, that's the deal. That is the deal. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, these guys are growing. They're growing at an exponentially fast rate. They're buying farms. They're building facilities to compost more. Okay, more. We need more. We need more. We need more. Well, this guy over here, he's a guy that could produce more if he was getting paid to produce more. But they're not producing more. They don't need to produce more just yet. So they're starving me out. And the unfortunate thing is that when they do open this, and I thought they had the foresight and were smart enough to figure this out, though. Hey, look, maybe it'll cost us a little more now, and we'll limit the number of tons that they bring in so that when we do need to double our production, they'll be willing to produce hay for us and straw for us to double the production. I know I'm kind of getting off track with this thing, but just give me a second, and I'll finish up with what I'm talking about here, and then I'll move on to the other parts of the country that are drying up and hail damage. So, with the corn that I have in the ground, I've got a little over 300 acres. I've done the calculations. I have this really neat application right now that tells me exactly how many acres are there and exactly, what the soil conditions are and everything except for the nutrient value. And I have a little over 300 acres of corn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in rye, right? Cereal rye. That's what I'm going to put in. If you remember back a few years on One Lonely Farmer channel, you will know that I cleaned and bagged thousands of bushels of rye seed and sent it out to the Amish in Mennonites in Lancaster County. Okay. I will be putting it into bulk bags. I will be putting it into little bags. I will be selling rye seed again. Now, right now, rye is worth quite a bit of money in cleaned condition, ready for sale to the Amish Mennonite communities out there. They need it for cover crop, and I need it for cover crop. A couple of these farms are highly erodible, and I need to hold that soil together with rye. I will take that rye, I will swath the rye, and I will buy a pickup header. I might employ Northern Farmer AB to find me one for my TR96, and I will swath it green, I will combine it, and then I will drill soybeans in. That's what I'm going to do on those 300 acres. My wife is going to kill me. But I think that's the best way to do it, to get the best quality rye out, or seed made, rye seed. I'm going to put it in the bin and run air on it until it is, ready to go. And then we will bag it. we'll bag it up, and then in a month's time, sometime in the end of this month, August into September, when they start chopping corn silage off out in Lancaster County, I will employ someone to start hauling it out to the auctions. And there's a guy out there by the name of Abner, and I won't use his last name because then other people will want to do this, but Abner, if you in Lancaster, you will know who Abner is if he's still alive. He was a big fat man, and I liked him a lot. He was shrewd, but I liked him. And he will buy it in very large quantities. All I got to do is drop it off there. And I can do that. No problem. Just bring it out on the walking floor. Doop, out it goes. So that's the plan. That's the plan with the corn ground. And obviously that's for this year. Next year, all the corn ground that I have now will be rye with Timothy reseeded into it, because Timothy hay is worth a hell of a lot more than the orchard grass and all that. And that means that I have to be home in June to produce the Timothy hay at its peak time. And that's going to put a damper on the pamper for North Carolina. But I can hire people to do that job while I am home running it through a baler. I will be leaving one Krone baler here at home, while the other balers are down in North Carolina, because I have purchased a new one. It will be here in 2022. So I'll probably leave my oldest baler here and use that for this Timothy. And if there's even, well, there won't be any Timothy this year, but it'll be the following year after that. But the rye, I'm going to totally swath it and combine it with a pickup header. And that'll be 300 acres. So there's going to be a lot of rye. Rye doesn't yield like wheat does. Rye is actually a less yielding crop. It yields between 40 and 60 bushels. On a good year, it'll be 60. On a bad year, it'll be 35, 40 bushels. So somewhere between 40 and 60 bushels. And I don't care if it goes down, because I will be using my grain head, or my grass seed head on the case windrower to cut that with, so I have minimal losses in shattering, because I will be harvesting it green. I will be swathing it green, and we'll go from there. That is something that people don't do here, but it's something that people are going to witness me doing, and it'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting. I'll make good, interesting videos for YouTube as well, if you're interested in that. But anyhow, now I'm going to move on to hail damage. I watch the Welker Farms every once in a while. I'm not a huge fan of the Welker Farms because I just don't have time to watch them. But every once in a while, there's a video that comes across that piques my interest. Same thing with Millennial Farmer. Same thing with any of these guys. The Our Wyoming Life. There's a ranch out there. They have no hay. It just seems to me like there is devastation and disaster throughout the whole entire country. I live in a small pocket of a really good growing season right now. Not so much for hay, because it's really difficult to make good hay in rainy weather. Like right now, there's no sunshine out there. It's cloud cover. I'm going to mow today because I have to. I got to get it done. We are looking at showers in a couple of days, but I don't care. We're just going to get it on the ground, and we'll rake it up and go from there. If I have to buy another hay rake to get this job done, then that's what I will do. I have to wake my son up. He is in there sleeping. He needs to get up and get going with his day. But yeah, so that's really the deal there. We need to change what we're doing in order to stay alive, is basically what this video is about. And I watched Zach Johnson, the Millennial Farmer. He was out scouting, and I haven't seen any videos lately, but what I saw of his corn crop, even if 10% of it is complete disaster, there's no profit there. The profit margins on corn and soybean are razor thin. This year, maybe not so much because of the higher pricing, and if they locked in on fertilizer and stuff from last year prices, they would definitely have gotten. They will be profiting pretty well, but still 10%. 10% of your crop, if it's gone, you've lost money. There's just no way. And I don't know about their crop insurance plans. I have no crop insurance, so if my corn fails, it's a failure on me. I still have the fodder that I can deal with, but still, I'm not worried about my corn crop. Even at 1,000 acres, I'm not buying crop insurance. I just don't feel the need to. My wife is, she's going to step into the corn growing business herself, with me. Obviously, I'll be doing the work and she'll be helping me like she does already. But she wants to have her name on some of this stuff, which is really kind of cool. To me, it is anyway. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter to anybody else. But my wife is a very driven person, and she wants to succeed. She wants to help. She wants to be a major part in this farm, which from some young lady from the Philippines that never even saw a John Deere tractor in her life or even knew what it was, to running an 8530, running a Krone big pack baler, and now she'll probably be running a combine because I will be purchasing another TR96, 97, 98, or something like that. Something that the parts are compatible between the two machines. And I will be doing that next year if the corn price is good. Now, forward contracted soybeans and corn, if your crop was destroyed by hail, like Welker's were, and there's a lot of hail damage. There was a lot of hail damage out in Colorado. That's what prevented me from going out there this year. And a couple of other things that prevented me from going out there this year. But still, that's another thing that's in the works. If North Carolina doesn't work out, then we will be going to Colorado instead. And that's later, so we will be there. And I really need to sew up this contract with them so that we are all on the same page. And it's a set contract. We're going to do it. There is no maybe ifs, ands, or buts. Well, you're a secondary. So, no, I want to be the guy that does it. I don't want to be the guy that is like, well, we really could use your help. No. How's this sound? You put the guy that's out there on the, I could really use your help list. Put me out there, and you'll know that it will get done. It will get done. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. So it's a little bit later, so I'll have a little more time to get that corn in the ground, 1,000 acres, because let's face it, I can do over 100 acres a day planting corn, and no big deal. 100 acres a day. That's what I'll do. 100 acres a day. Be like, oh, okay, he's going to do 100 acres a day. Well, that's 10 days. 10 days of actually planting, and then another 5 days to spray it, because I could do a couple 100 acres a day. It's no big deal. It really isn't a very big deal. So, yeah. Anyway, with that being said, the country has less grain than what the USDA inspectors, as Jeff Ramone was saying, Inspector 12 came to the field, and he had the Joe Biden tabulator there to tabulate the number of acres and versus the number of population and the number of bushels that he's going to get. And I think his was an inflated number, but hey, whatever. I'll tell you exactly what I get when I'm done. I don't care. It's like I only grow corn for fun. I'm not doing it for business. At least this year and last year. This coming year is going to be for profit for sure. Even though I profited last year, I did well. I did very well, and I was quite happy with what I ended up with. But with that being said, I'm almost at 30 minutes, and that's a lot of talking. So there you go. Is there any subjects you guys want to talk about? I know there's a shortage of hay in this country as well. There will be a shortage of everything. I guess I could talk about beef too. Beef and poultry. Poultry's percolating right along. Pork percolating right along. Beef percolating right along. The problem is with these high grain prices, or the higher grain prices, it's going to come down to the end user. And the end user is either going to shy away from these proteins, which I highly doubt, but their chicken must be damn cheap too, because they put a lot of it into dog food, chicken and beef flavor, pork and all that stuff into dog and cat food. But that stuff will have to stop. Grain is not going to be cheap. Beef, chicken, pork, not going to be cheap. It's going up, and you ought to know it too, because I'm sure if you've purchased beef and pork and whatever else in the last couple of months, you'll realize that everything has gone through the roof. It's really expensive. Food is going up, but nowhere near as expensive as it is in, say, England. When I was in England for a visit back in 2016, food price was much higher than it is here in the United States. When I was in Belgium in 2014, I thought, holy smokes, these prices are pretty hefty. They're not cheap. And also, you look at the population, they're much thinner, so they're not eating to gorge themselves. Their portions are much smaller. They don't need to have all this food, and that's just the way it is over there. So I think the United States is going to be put on a forced weight loss plan. I don't know if you've been to Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, or any of these other companies, fast food joints. Have you looked at the size of the chicken sandwich? Because I buy the chicken sandwiches when I'm there. If I go there, I don't go there very often, but when I do, I buy the chicken sandwich. Well, yesterday was the first time I've been to Burger King in quite some time, and my wife was like, I'm hungry, I'm eating. I'm going to eat something. I want to buy Burger King, because we hadn't eaten all day, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon. And she bought a chicken sandwich from Burger King, the King, because she saw it on TV. So I want the King. She broke her teeth. Snapped. That was it. So she's right now at the dentist's office getting that repaired. I ate it. Felt like crap the rest of the day. I don't care. But for a King sandwich, a soda, and a Whopper, and a little thing of chicken nuggets was $17 and change for those things. For those few things. And I was like, holy shit, this is expensive. We could have went home and cooked for less, obviously, but man, and there was a line at this place. I mean, these people are just swiping their cards. But for 3 items, they weren't even meals. I mean, she got the King, broke her teeth. I got the Whopper because that's what she ordered me. I was on the phone to a property owner who needs hay today. I have to go get that to him. But that King thing broke her teeth. So because it's breaded, and that breading was hard, and it snapped it. Oh, what a mess. Anyway, $17 and change, not quite $18 for those 4 items. A Whopper? Oh, there was fries in there, but nobody ate because they're just Burger King fries suck. I'd go to McDonald's and buy just French fries if I wanted French fries, and I've done that. But the soda, King, a burger, a Whopper, just a regular Whopper, not a double Whopper, a regular Whopper, and kids' chicken nuggets for William, which he didn't eat all of those either. Almost $18. It's crazy. So years ago, you could go in there for $10 and get the same type. Well, you would get 3 meals for less than $10 because I used to go with the kids, Haley, Joe, and Tim, and myself, the 4 of us. And we would go through the McDonald's or the Burger King line, and I want the Happy Meal, so you go through the Happy Meal, which those are cheap to begin with, but when they got a little older, we just go, and it was like $12. I was like, God, $12, that's expensive for this. But now, it's $3 and some cents for the meal. Now it's like ridiculous. So if you haven't noticed your food price going up, it's going up. It is really, truly going up, and it's not going to slow down, which to me, I'm happy about it. I really am. There's too many fat people eating too much food. Oh, and the portion sizes are getting less. You got the chicken sandwich, the King. It was bigger than a crispy chicken sandwich for sure, or a grilled chicken sandwich, which I usually get when I go through a McDonald's line because that's probably the healthiest thing on the menu. But I'll get that and a soda and I haven't done that in a long time because I just don't. I'm losing weight. My boyish figure comes back, it's just, anyway, it is what it is. Go to the grocery store. What you used to get for $150 is now $225. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. And we buy good stuff. We don't buy garbage. There's a lot of fruits and vegetables very expensive. So the farmer that's producing this is actually making a little bit more money, and that's why I'm okay with it. I know my wife, when we go to the Philippines, she's like, oh, you got to negotiate with these people. They're trying to gouge you. And they're like, look, these guys are out there in the scorching heat. If you've ever been near the equator, let's put it that way. You don't have to go to the Philippines, but if you've ever been near the equator or a tropical island paradise like that, you will know that that sun is hot as Hades on a cool day. Couldn't even imagine what it's like when it's 110 degrees out there and they're out there picking bitter melons and string beans and whatever else they're producing. Carrots up near Baguio and Banaue. Banaue is, a province town. Look it up online. It's gorgeous and beautiful, and they produce rice and other vegetables there. But it's hot, and she's trying to negotiate 20 pesos. We're talking 40 cents. She's trying to negotiate. I'm like, look, just give them what they're asking, because you know what? She's like, yeah, well, they want to negotiate. That's why they put these prices on here. I was like, no, they don't want to negotiate. They want to get paid. They need money because they got to feed their family too. Or they got to pay the electric bill, or they got to pay the fertilizer bill, or they got to pay the tractor bill, or their carabao needs medicine, or whatever the hell it is they need. So give them what they need. Give them what they ask. She gets so pissed off at me when I do that. But now, as a farmer, she is like, you're right. You work really hard and don't really get paid that well. So there you go. Anyways, I'm going to end this now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. I don't know when it'll be, but stay tuned for it.